going live. Ah, gonna go live. And I think I'm live. Okay, we're live. We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. We did a bonus live stream yesterday. I don't know if you were there for that. That was fun. That was the positive live stream. It was good news with Tony and Joan. Just nothing but white pills. What we tried. So today we're talking about Hollywood. So, you know. What did I do this week? What didn't I do? Nothing. I had no events this week. So I worked on Pineys number 15. I'm working on a screenplay for a client. So I'm about 20 pages into that. Hopefully he likes it. He's supposed to be reading it this weekend. What else did I do? Just a lot of internet stuff I was doing. I mean, I did that second live stream. That's about it, really. Didn't really do much. Since I didn't work this week, or I didn't make any money this week, I really tried to cut back on expenses. So I played a game called Let's See How Much Food Is Left in the House and Just Eat That. So I was just eating whatever was left in the house. Fortunately, I had a bit of a stockpile. Not a lot, but enough to get me through the week. And then today I got invited to my parents' house for dinner, so that was huge. That was like, oh boy, free food, sign me up. So I had dinner over there, and that was about it, really. I spent a lot of the week trying to get more events for February, and only succeeded in getting more events for every other month but February. Look at my schedule now. I've got 8 dates for March, including Gator Weekend, which is the first weekend in March. That's Gator Weekend at One More Bar and Grill down in on 206. I'm only going to be there on Saturday, but I might be there on Friday night if I get motivated enough and the weather's nice. I'm outside, so I don't want to go there too late. I might be able to get there by 4. So I'm a bit on the fence. I'll definitely be there Saturday. Sunday, probably not, unless I guess I could get up early and go and then leave and go to the other thing I have. I've got other stuff going on that weekend, but definitely Saturday. Gator Weekend was pretty boss last year. I was there all day, I think. So that'll be fun. And I got some stuff coming up next week. And I got all this week to write screenplays and get more stuff going on. So, but anyhow, that's what's going on with me. Oh, I had a woman ghost me on Tinder, so that was interesting. I don't know. I just said hi and she disappeared. Why match with me if you're gonna just disappear? I don't know. What do women want? Nah, let's not do that podcast. Because if I knew that, well, things would be different. So, Joan was a very bad dog today. And look at this. Speaking of Tinder, I just got a message on Tinder. So we'll check it out. I think I got 1 minute before we got to start here. See if it means it. Oh, fantastic. All right. So another girl I had messaged on Tinder months ago said, well, I'm kind of seeing somebody. I don't want to juggle 2 guys or whatever. So now I think I might be in. So I'll let her wait. I'll let her brew a little bit before I respond. Don't want to sound too anxious. I don't know where I'm going to take her. Does anybody know a place you could take someone for free? Hey, want to go to a parking lot? That sounds like fun. Oh, man. I got to get some money. Anyhow, as always, check out the Pineys. But we are going to talk about the box office today. And the big news, of course, this week was the absolute dumpster fire that is Madam Web. Okay? So Madam Web cost $80 million, I've been told, by various pundits, I guess. And let's see if it's even on here. The budget. Oh, it looks like it got some international box office here. Yeah, no, it says 80 million. So they must think they're going to break even. I mean, they're at 49 million. They might break even on the budget at least. Not on the advertising though, I don't think. They seem to have spent some money on the advertising. I saw quite a few ads. And I don't even watch TV. So, oh gosh, where was that thing online? I gotta find this. There's a great bit on Madam Web. Let's see if I can find it. It was a list of things that happened in Madam Web. And it was pretty crazy. Oh boy, if I could find this list. It's pretty nuts. Oh, how could this list not be in the top mentions of Madam Web? It was a nutso list of crazy events that happened in the movie. And it just looks god awful. Did anybody see it? That would be my question. Anybody on the stream see this garbage dump? Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. Jeez, it was floating around. As from Heels versus Babyface read off. Oh, here it is. Oh, this is amazing. So who's posting this? Vino, I guess his name is, posted this. All right. Now here's what happened in Madam Web, according to a source. I have no reason to suspect that this is anything but the truth. All these events happened in Madam Web except one. Can you guess which one? And I hear the joke is they all happened. Holly M is here. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Holly. All right, so here's what, according to the source, happened in Madam Web. Number one, Madam Web is born in a cave in Peru with the help of magical spider people. Now that one I know is true. Number two, the three spider women never get powers and are only seen in costumes during dream sequences. That one is also true. Number three, evil Spider-Man is killed by a large Pepsi sign. This is 100% true. Everybody's talking about it. Madam Web becomes wanted for kidnapping by the NYPD. I believe that is true. And the movie makes very little sense. And she kidnaps these young teenagers for no reason. Number, I guess this is 5. Madam Web runs down evil Spider-Man in her car twice. That's the only one that's technically not true. She runs him down in a car and then later runs him down in the ambulance. And then I think the Pepsi sign falls on him and kills him. Number 6, Peter Parker is born but not named. May and Ben Parker are in it as younger people. And then the parents of Spider-Man, I think, or is it Aunt? No, that would have been Aunt May and Uncle Peter. Or Uncle Ben. Yeah, I'm not sure. But apparently they're supposed to be I think it's supposed to be the parents of Peter Parker or whatever. And then finally, Madam Web, and this is the weirdest one. Madam Web is inexplicably splits into 3 ghost-like copies of herself near the end of the movie. This movie makes 0 sense, even by the standards of, well, we're going to make a movie and take a character and race swap her and gender swap her or whatever. Like, at least if you had done that and followed the comic, you might have had something. This doesn't even make any sense. The woman who made this movie should never be given another movie again. Not like this, anyway. I don't know what it is. Hollywood has decided that female directors have to get their chance regardless of their abilities. And that just doesn't make any sense. It is very tough to direct a studio feature movie. I don't say that from experience, but I've known people who worked on them. It's a very complicated thing. There's a lot of money involved. It's hard to direct a feature-length movie with no money, much less having all these departments and people at your disposal, and it has to be good. I mean, you think about the millions of dollars. The movie has to be good. It has to be way up here. They can't, like in a low budget movie, you can cut some corners, you can shoot stuff that gets on the screen that was easy to shoot, and it's no big deal. But when you're shooting something like Madam Web, like every frame of that movie has to be at this level of quality. You can't just throw the camera up and shoot something on the street. You have to light it. You have to block off the street and get union guys to surround the whole area as you're shooting it. You have to pay every extra in the background. Like, you can't cheap out on these movies. And when you're running something like that and you're shooting, you're costing the studio thousands and thousands of dollars while it's going on. So you have to know what you're doing. You have to pre-plan everything. But unfortunately, some people just aren't good at this. And you have to keep the story in mind. Like the one function of the director is to keep the story in mind as a whole. Like, some people get caught up in the scene they're shooting and then they start changing it, which might be good if the scene was being shown just by itself, but if it doesn't jibe with the rest of the movie, that's a real problem. So the director, one of the director's main job is to always keep the entire movie in their head. So when they're shooting one scene, they can look at it and say to themselves, yeah, this will integrate well with the rest of the things we shot. The woman who shot Madam Web, she's just in over her head. That's all I can guess. She's completely in over her head, is being paid all this money, accepted the job, was ambitious enough to say, yes, I can shoot this movie, but just doesn't have the skills. Just doesn't have the skills. And they're going to lose money on this movie, I say. Now, they might make the budget back, but they don't make back the advertising on this. I mean, we're at $15 million today. And the only reason it's at $49 million is because it opened up on Valentine's Day, and maybe they got a bit of a bump from that. So you're talking a movie that this weekend made $15 million. Okay, next weekend? Now, assuming it doesn't drop more than 50%, it might make $7 million. So maybe for the week it makes another 10. So you might get the 60 with the international. You might get another 10, so 70 maybe. So you're at 70. Next week, international and domestic together might make 10 million. You break even to get to 80. After that, maybe you make another 5 million. After that, 2 million. After that, 1 million. After that, it's done. So maybe you make another 10 million altogether, 10 million. So maybe you make $90 million on an $80 million movie. That's not enough. That's not enough to offset the advertising, which, the formula usually is you double it. I would say yes. With Madam Web, absolutely. Double the money, because I think they probably spent $80 million on this movie. Advertising it? Sure. At least $40 million. Be generous. Say, oh, they only spend about half. Okay. That's $120 million. There's no way this movie makes anywhere close to that, I think. I think it'll be lucky to squeak to 90, and that's it. And that is it. And that's assuming it doesn't plummet next week. Like, this thing could drop off a cliff next week, like Argyle kind of did. Argyle, not doing well. But the number one movie this week was Bob Marley, One Love. Now, this kind of doing okay. In the States, since Valentine's Day, and this is a movie kind of for Valentine's Day, only because it has love in the title, 45 million since Valentine's Day. 29 international, 74 million. This movie cost, it doesn't say, I wouldn't expect it to cost more than Madam Web. Doesn't really have any effects in it. I would say this movie probably comes in around 50 million, so this is probably money already. Number 3 is Argyle. This is its third week, and it's 4.7 million. No way this movie's money. It's at 76 million. It had a $200 million budget. Whew. This thing's ain't going to crack $100 million. How about that? $200 million. Whew. That is a bomb. Matthew Vaughn's in trouble, man. They ain't going to give him another $200 million. I don't think so. Number 4, up from 5, Migration. This movie's got legs, baby. 3.7 million. It's done 254 million worldwide. Probably not bad for a cartoon. Probably cost 100 mil. No, the production was only 72. So this is money. Yeah, money. Money in the bank, baby. Money in the bank, Migration. They'll be making a sequel. Number 5, Chosen, Season 4, Episodes 4 to 6. So the next 3 episodes, doing well. $3.4 million. People want to see Jesus on the big screen. And this is Season 4. It's got to be late in the run of Jesus, right? It's got to be late in his run. We got to be winding up to you know what. So people are loving it. Next week on Chosen, will Jesus survive? I think we know the end. Number 6 is Wonka, from 4 to 6. 3.4 million. Talk about legs. This movie. Wow. $604 million on a $125 million budget. Yeah, ka-ching. Freaking ka-ching. They're happy that they let this movie out when they did. I thought for a while there, when the controversy came out about Hugh Grant playing Oompa Loompa, and there was rumors of them canceling this thing, I thought, uh-oh. But, nah, people like it. It's whimsical. Whimsical, the Wonka film. I think you could thank Gene Wilder for that, 100%. It's in its 10th week, and it's still in the top 6. That is legs, baby. Legs all day. When you're still making over $1 million every week, yeah, you're damn right you keep this in theaters. Keep this in theaters forever. Probably the guys made the movie say. Number 7 is The Beekeeper. Oh, this was an Amazon thing. Oh, good. It'll be on Amazon soon. Dropping from 3 to 7. Okay, so people are kind of done with this. But doing okay. 3.2 million this week. 119 million worldwide. Do we have a budget? No. JEC is here. JEC, excuse me. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome. Beekeeper. I kind of want to see The Beekeeper, so I'll wait for it to come on Amazon. Probably already there. It's directed by the guy who did the first Suicide Squad movie, who contends that movie got destroyed by the studio, but I'm willing to give him a chance on The Beekeeper. I'm willing to give Suicide Squad a chance if I ever get around to having 2 hours that I don't care about. But I probably won't watch it. I hear it's just kind of unwatchable. Number 8, Anyone But You, 2.4 million. 9th week, another movie that really benefited by this time of year. 188 million. Oh, they're making a sequel to this. Or they'll make another movie with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. I mean, this is the way you make movies. This movie had a low budget, $25 million, and it made $188 million. That is making a movie. That's what you want to do. You don't need to spend $100 million on anything. You really don't. $100 million? I don't need to spend $100 million to make a good movie. I just don't. I have so many screenplays. Most of them wouldn't cost $100 million. I don't know if any of them would, come to think of it. The Pineys, I think you could get the Pineys in under... I think the Pineys would be a little pricier just because there'd be some effects, but those effects are getting cheaper and cheaper. But Anyone But You, a movie like that, This is the kind of movie. I mean, think about it. $25 million. You could have made 10 of these movies with the Captain Marvel money, right? You could have made 10 of these movies, 188 million. That would have been 1.8 billion dollars return. Yeah, like 2 billion. You would have made like 2 billion. Jay-Z, how else are you going to launder all this money through Tony? How are they laundering the money though? Right? If like you spend $200 million, it's gone. You know, they're not giving the money to themselves. I mean, partially they are, right? Like partially, like Amazon, I can see it because Amazon wasting $1 billion on the Rings of Power. Amazon is I think it's $1 trillion company or close to it. They make billions of dollars, billions with a B. So if you have a year, you make $50 billion, you got to pay taxes on that. And that's going to be a few billion. I don't know what the taxes are. I mean, I guess it's like 40%. If so, let's say you make $50 billion. I think you're going to have to pay like $20 billion in taxes. You need a write-off. $1 billion? Sure. They got a bunch of other write-offs too, but have that big giant write-off, the Rings of Power. Oh my God, this was a disaster. But like, it might not have been if they had done it right. So, JC, they have shell companies on top of shell companies that they overpay themselves every step of the way. Yeah, but you can only do so much of that, I would guess. Holly M. Jeff used the space thing as a write-off. Jeff used the space thing as a write-off. Oh, you mean his space company? I don't know. That was pretty cool what he did. He got to go to space. He took William Shatner. That was really cool. Watch the video of William Shatner coming back from space. It's amazing. He just goes on and on about how awesome it was in that Captain Kirk voice that's like, you know, I was actually in space, seeing the world for what it is. I'm a rocket man. I just watched the Rocket Man video for the umpteenth time of William Shatner singing Rocket Man. If you ever have a sad day and you want to laugh, watch William Shatner singing Rocket Man. If you don't laugh, you are made of stone. JC, Bezos went to space. Shatner was depressed about going into space. I don't think so. I think he thought it was inspiring. I think he was humbled by it, the experience. But, yeah, I guess, sure. But, like, look. So you're overpaying yourselves in various shell companies to keep the money you earned rather than turning it into more money? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why not just take a chance to make another $2 billion? Like, okay, you'll have to pay taxes on it, but you'll still have profit left. Or you could do something crazy like use all your billions of dollars to lobby Congress to lower taxes. Maybe something like that. That might be nice. God forbid they do that. Number 9. Dropping from 2. Lisa Frankenstein, the Diablo Cody movie, plummets from 2 to 9. That's pretty bad. But it's only a drop of 45%, so it's not that bad. It's just that it didn't make a lot of money to begin with. Holly M. They tank a lot of things just to use it as a tax write-off. I don't know why, because look, all right, let's do it this way. Let's say I make $100. We'll just keep the numbers small. Right? And I'm going to have to pay $40 in taxes. So my choice is to tank a bunch of stuff so I save myself $40. But I had to spend money in order to write it off. That's the way it works. It's dollar for dollar. So I end up spending the $40. I just end up spending it on something stupid. Now, if I spend it on something smart and I make money and I make $200, yes, I owe $80, but I still made more money. Like, something will tank. If you make movies, eventually something will just tank. JC, the movies aren't supposed to lose money. They're expecting to overpay themselves to make a profit. Like their personal profit, yes. Personally, they make money, but the company doesn't. I think. Holly M, I heard Lisa Frankenstein was not all that bad. It didn't look bad, I gotta be honest. I mean, it had 80s music. Out of all the recent Frankenstein, feminist Frankenstein movies, this looked the most appealing to me because it had 80s music and goth chicks, and it looked kind of funny. Even though I don't think Diablo Cody is funny, you know, I don't think I'm not a huge fan of Diablo Cody. But if I told you, if I went back in time 10 years ago when she was the darling of Hollywood, or maybe it was longer than that, like more like 15, 20, and I said, hey, a religious TV show called The Chosen will outsell, excuse me, and outperform a Diablo Cody movie, people in Hollywood would have said, what? You're crazy. JC, but if the money is dirty to begin with, you need to launder it. A movie is a good way to launder it. Well, that is true. In which case, where's that money coming from? So when you say dirty money, like what studio is there like a cartel connection here and they're just laundering money? But they're still losing money. Like to me, the way to launder money would be to funnel it through something that breaks even. And like, if it made money on top of that, that's even better, I think. You know, if you lose money, then it's like you've lost money. Like there's no reason to lose any of the money other than the money you spent on the movies. I don't know. JC, Chinese cartels. Maybe. That seems an awfully dirty thing for the studios to do. Now, for the Chinese, I don't know if the Chinese are laundering money in the United States. Seems like something they wouldn't need to do because they could just do it in their own country and it's perfectly legal. The cartels might. Holly M, I don't think they launder them money. I don't think they longer than money. Huh? Launder, thank you. Launder that money via the movies. Everybody knows that the way they launder their money is through art, and art sales ask Hunter. LOL. Oh, okay. Yeah, like Hunter Biden's. Now that's a laundering scheme. There you go. That's a bribe scheme, I think. Hunter Biden is suddenly a painter. Yeah, the guy who never had a creative bone in his body. Oh, suddenly he's a painter. He goes from being a crack addict. He goes from being a lawyer to a crack addict, whoremonger to a painter. Sure. Sure he does. No, I don't believe that for a hot minute. But like in that case, he has these paintings, and the guys who want to bribe his dad are just giving him money for the paintings, which they could just throw away. But the money is like the money, you don't lose money in that exchange. It would be like, I'm laundering the money, give me $50,000, but because we lose a bunch of money at the art gallery, we don't get the $50,000. We only get like 20. So, Holly M, sorry, multitasking. That's okay. But yeah, this Lisa Frankenstein, $2 million, which is only a 45% drop, but it only made $7 million. It probably cost more than that. Yeah, I'm gonna guess it. A movie like this probably cost at least 20. JC, you put the dirty money in. The studio pays a catering company $1 million a month, even though you spend $50,000 on the food. Yeah, I could see it. But I could also see that falling apart. I mean, that, you know, like, yeah, I mean, but still, you could still make the money. Like, Madam Web didn't have to be that bad of a movie. It just didn't. You know, you just needed someone who'd be willing to do a. I mean, there's so many guys who want to make good movies. The problem is, in my view, they're so desperate to get women directors in. They're willing to take anybody just willing to take the job. Anybody who's even close to a director. You know, you got a woman who's maybe been an assistant cinematographer for half a year, and they go, "Oh, let's you could direct a movie, right?" And she's just not ready. She might be in the future. I mean, some women can direct. I mean, Penny Marshall was a good director. She was decent. Who else? I mean, I think Patty Jenkins directed the first Wonder Woman, which I hear is good. But the second one looked to be trash. I don't know. I also think there's a thing in Hollywood. They want these directors so bad. I think they actually hire the woke director as a figurehead, and then hire an actual director behind the scenes to do all the work. That's my theory. And JC, what Hollywood, a house of card that's doomed to fall apart, huh? How many movies recently directed by husband and wife teams, and they brag about having a female director? Yeah. Yeah, and it's a shame, because all that's going to end up happening is women directors are going to get the blame for all these terrible movies, and it's just going to put a bad taste in the mouth of Hollywood to hire women at all. You know, the moment they'll be able to say no to women, they'll just say no to all of them. But they should just go back to a merit-based system. But at this point, I think Hollywood is being sabotaged on the inside by the Chinese, who want to take over Hollywood. They want to supplant Hollywood as the dream factory. And it's not that communists can make good movies, because they can't, but they have destroyed Hollywood to the point where almost none of these movies are any good. These movies are horrible. Like Bob Marley, maybe. Madam Web's a disaster. Argyle's a disaster. Migration, I don't know. I didn't say it. The Chosen doesn't really count. That's kind of outside the Hollywood system. Wonka is another. I mean, the only reason I think that did well is because it just riding on the Gene Wilder's laurels. The Beekeeper, that's kind of an original movie. So, I don't know. I think it's probably okay. Anyone But You, that seems to be good. The trailer looks good. Lisa Frankenstein, maybe. If you didn't spend a lot of money on this movie, back in the day, back in the 80s, they wouldn't spend more than a couple of million on a movie like Lisa Frankenstein. And it would have made money back then. It probably would have. Back in the day, back in the 1980s, they would have spent maybe $2 million on a movie like this, and it would have made $5 million, and everybody would have been like, "Oh, we doubled our money and more. Fantastic." Land of the Bad. This is the new Russell Crowe movie. This is a premiere, 1.8 million. The guys at Fandom Pulse liked it. I don't know. I think it's a militaristic movie that's trying to show that drone pilots are good guys. But it looks fine, I guess. Russell Crowe is the drone pilot, and Liam Hemsworth is a guy who's trapped behind enemy lines, and the drone pilot saves him, doing drone things, I guess. So, kind of a weird movie. Russell Crowe's really gained some weight. He really needs to lose some weight. He looks much thinner on this poster than he does in the movie, I think. But Liam Hemsworth's putting in his dues. He doesn't seem to be as popular as his brother, but he looks good in the movie. Yeah. I just don't like that they're trying to do another military movie about drone pilots. I wish they'd do a real movie about drone pilots, how awful it is. They're murdering people. It's not good. Drones aren't a good thing, I don't think. So, but whatever. Number 11 is Mean Girls, dropping from 8. 1.1 million in its 6-week. 99 million. So this is just going to crack 100 million. And it's money. Sadly. Ugh. No thanks. No thanks to Mean Girls the Musical, which is what it is. Number JC, glamorizing drone pilots, LOL. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, I don't like glamorizing war, but drone pilots especially, there's a lot going on there that I've read about. It is not good. American Fiction drops from 10 to 12, just shy of $1 million. It's made $19 million. This is probably not money. However, it is Oscar bait, so it might get a nod. I mean, it definitely got a nod, but it might win something, but probably not. I don't think this is money, but the trailer looks pretty awesome. I'll probably watch this on streaming. Number 13 is Poor Things, the feminist Frankenstein movie. People continue to rave about this movie. I read a bizarre article where the woman tries to argue that really this is a movie that embraces traditionalism. I don't know. It's a weird argument. The argument is that, I don't know how much you know about the plot, but the plot is it's Frankenstein, except there's a prostitute. I think she kills herself, and then the Frankenstein doctor, played by William Dafoe, brings her back to life, but he can't save her brain, so he puts a toddler's brain in her adult body. Then, she is alive, and then for a while she's with Dr. Frankenstein, and then slowly he starts to let her out, and then she eventually goes on a trip where she has tons and tons of sex with all these different guys. She's just like, so it's like this weird, I don't know, sexual revolution metaphor. But in the end, she decides that she's not going to do that anymore, I guess. And that's why it's sort of based, is the argument in the article. It was weird. It's a weird argument. I don't know. I just think it's weird for being weird. It's one of those movies. It's a bunch of pretentious art snobs getting together and saying, oh, we'll do this and then we'll do that. Oh, the peons will be outraged and we'll look very smart. That's what I think it is. Plus Mark Ruffalo's in it. I don't know. This might win an Oscar. 92 million. Is that money? I can't imagine it's money. Wait, did I check for let me see. Yeah, I don't know what the budget is. I can't imagine it's money because there were a lot of effects in this. It takes place in a universe that has a lot of effects. Number 14, 2024 Oscar shorts. Made $765,000. This is something I wouldn't mind seeing, actually, but I don't know where you go see it. Probably an art house in New York and LA is probably the only two places. But the fact that this is even on the list tells you how bad the box office is. I can't wait to get to the end of this. What was last week? 58 million total? I think this will be a little higher than that. Maybe 65, something like that. Dropping to 15 from 12, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, still in theaters, $750,000. That did better than expected. Number 16 is Night Swim. This also did okay. $47 million for a horror movie. Probably didn't cost that much. Horror movie and a built-in pool. The Taste of Things, in its 15th week, suddenly getting a wider release for some reason. guess it did well somewhere, and they decided to give it a wider release. This is IFC Films, $600,000. It's only made $2.6 million. Probably not money. The Boys in the Boat, George Clooney directed rowing movie. Just about done at $54 million. Zone of Interest, Oscar bait. Not doing well financially. Just cracking $10 million. Maybe after the Oscars it gets a bigger release. What's it in now? It's only in 443 theaters, but that's down this week. So maybe it wins something and they put it out. Out of Darkness, dropping from 13. It's only done 1.7 million. I like the poster for it. Turning Red. I don't know why they bothered to re-release this, but it made another 11 million, which kind of offsets some of the cost. This production cost was $175 million. This is another big loss for Disney. Total, this thing made about 13 million. Now, this was released during the pandemic, but I don't think it was going to do much better if it had a regular release. Even pre-pandemic levels, I don't think this would have done well. I think it might have done 20, 30, 40, maybe. But, oh my God, $175 million for a cartoon about a girl who turns into a giant red panda, and it's a metaphor for her period. That's what this movie is. It's a period piece. Ha! Get it? Ugh. That's awful. That's just awful. Awful as that joke. Perfect Days. Perfect Days. What the hell is this movie? Did I see this? I don't remember. 8.3 million. Looks like an international movie. Didn't even crack 500,000 here. And it's in its 15th week. That's done. Trolls Band Together. Oh, go away. Still in 158 theaters. Origin. Also go away. Anna DeVarney's movie. Iron Claw. Still hanging in there. In its 9th week. All of Us Strangers. The gay love story movie. Still hanging on in theaters. 12 million. Wish. Wish is still in 75 theaters. Why? Why? For $52,000, why even bother to keep putting this out? Can you imagine driving across this country and then you're driving past the theater and like, oh, look at the movies. Wish is still in there? Doesn't make any sense. Just kill it. Kill it already. The Holdovers, again, Oscar bait. This will probably do okay on streaming. I mean, 39 million. It's probably not money, though. Again, I think it's, 20 years too late for that movie. Carter Jane is here. I love a good gay love story. Oh, then you must love Marvel Comics and DC Comics, because that's all it is. Wall-to-wall gay. God and Country, The Rise of Christian Nationalism. This is, I believe, the Rob Reiner directed thing. And I'm happy to report it only made $40,000. This is basically an attempt. It's only in 85 theaters, though. This is basically an attempt to astroturf and tie in January 6th, Trump, and any Trump supporters with Christian nationalism and terrorism. That's the whole plan here. So Meathead sounds like he's working for the deep state now. Sounds about right. Sounds about right. That's full circle for him. Goes from being a hippie saying, oh man, the government, don't trust anyone under 25, man. Which is what they used to say. Peace and love, man. Why can't we have peace and love? On All in the Family. And now, look at him. Big fat guy. Premiering at way at the bottom, Altered Reality. I watched the trailer for this, but I didn't quite understand it. I think it's another multiverse movie, but it's very confusing, the trailer. Um, I can't say it looked good either because it was so confusing. I'm not sure what the plot is. I'm not sure. Like, I think they were showing two different versions of events, but I'm not sure which one was which and which scenes went with which versions of the events because they didn't bother to separate it. I think it's a story of a guy who invents a drug that allows him to go back in time, and then he does, and he changes history so he's rich, but then his daughter dies, and then he wants to do it again to save his daughter, but like he can't. And what's the name? The guy from Millennium is in it. What's his face? Oh, you know the guy. He was in Near Dark, and he's the android in one of the Alien movies. What the hell's his name? I can't even think of his name now. I gotta look it up. It's the easiest way to do it. Near Dark, by the way. Awesome vampire movie. Lance Hendrickson. I can never think of Lance's name. Yeah, Lance Hendrickson is in it as the crazy old man who somehow helps him. I don't know if he has supernatural powers. It's a very confusing trailer. That's why I didn't do a thing on it. It's just, it was so confusing. I'm not sure what the movie is. I'm waiting for another trailer, I guess. Then Anselm, still in theaters for some reason. And then in Neo, also still in theaters for some reason. So the entire box office this week was $75 million. All right, that's more than I thought, but still, that's still pretty low. I mean, you can't get $100 million in a weekend, even in February. That's pretty low. It's better than last week, but what is that? Yeah, it's about, last week I think was 58 million? No, last week was 37 million? Is that correct? Yeah. Was it that low last weekend? 37 million. Holy F. I don't remember it being that low last weekend. I thought it was higher than that. All right. Sheesh. So it's double. This weekend we doubled the box office from last week. But that is awful. So, yeah. It's a sad state movies are in. Sad state. Sad state. Did anybody see these movies? Is anybody seeing anything? I don't know. What would I see on this list? Maybe Land of the Bad. That would be the safe bet. I definitely want to see American Fiction. Don the Second is here. Hola. Hola to you, Don. I want to see The Beekeeper. So I'll definitely see that on Amazon. Maybe Lisa Frankenstein. I wouldn't pay for it, though. American Fiction and Beekeeper I'll see. They're both on Amazon, so I should be able to see it. Beyond that, I mean, it's really nothing here. There's not enough movies on this list. That's another problem, too. The distribution system is... I don't know what's wrong that they can't put more movies out. Have you been to a movie theater? Every screen around me has at least 12 to 16 screens. You're going to put the first 16 of these movies in it? No way. I would screen Bob Marley. Sure. There's definitely an audience for that. Madam Web, I wouldn't even have run. I just know too much about comics. I just would have said, nah, don't even put it in. Put anything else up. Argyle, I would have run it at least the first or second week, maybe. I thought it was going to be decent, but what do I know? Migration, yes. The Chosen, absolutely. Wonka, yes. Beekeeper, yes. Anyone But You, yes. Lisa Frankenstein, I probably would have run. Land of the Bad, yeah. Mean Girls, just because I hate it so much, no. American Fiction, yes, because I want that movie to do good. Poor Things, no. Oscar shorts, yeah. I think you could make money showing that. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, nah, I probably would have kicked it off by now. Night Swim, I would keep another week. The Taste of Things, maybe. The Boys in the Boat, no. I would have kicked it out by now. The Zone of Interest, maybe. And after that, I mean, pretty much nothing. I wouldn't have run Rob Reiner's stupid movie. I think it's just propaganda. Altered Reality, I'd have to see the damn thing to tell you. I mean, the trailer's just so confusing. I guess it would keep Oppenheimer in for the umpteenth week. What are we at up to that? Oppenheimer still $959 million. You're not going to get to $1 billion, Oppenheimer. It ain't happening. 41 million to go? I don't think so. Not at the rate of 32,000 a week. But I guess you're going to keep trying. I mean, maybe once this gets a few Oscars, it's going to get a bunch of Oscars. I got to think. Oppenheimer, it has to get an Oscar. It has to. What else are you going to give an Oscar to? You're going to give an Oscar to Barbie? Please. That would just be... Barbie has run its course, in my view. Now, maybe they make a sequel or a spin-off or whatever, but I think it's done. I didn't think it would do this well, but it did. So, but I kind of think it's done. And I kind of think the spin-off for the sequel is not going to do anything close to this. Whereas, you know, you get Christopher Nolan and he does another movie, something like this, good script, could do very well. He's kind of one of the last big directors. He's still kind of in his prime. Like Martin Scorsese, I don't know what happened to him. I really don't. Last couple of movies, like, whew, is this going to keep happening? Where he's like off his game or something. Maybe he's just done. Then you got Quentin Tarantino. Oh, I'm going to retire. Like, okay. I mean, I guess it's better to retire before you burn out on things, but seems to me that he can make a few more movies. I don't know. He to me, like Quentin Tarantino, he needs to just change it. He just needs to do a regular movie for once, just to see if he could do it. Like, I don't know. Give him something like one of these stupid movies where they just take a TV show and turn it into a movie. Give him one of those. See what he does with it. I don't know. Barnaby Jones, the movie. Give it to him. What the hell? See, maybe he'll make Barnaby Jones cool. I don't know. JC, Scorsese is like over 80. What do you expect? Yeah, well, look at Clint Eastwood. I'll say to that. That's my response to that. Clint Eastwood's kicking it out of the park. Guy's amazing. Guy's crafting films like I've never seen. All his movies are amazing now. They're just phenomenal. They should all... it's just incredible, the kind of movies he keeps cranking out. I don't know what he's... I mean, Cry Macho, from what I've seen it at, is not great. But other than that, other than Cry Macho, holy cow. But, I mean, you're going to have one stinker in that bunch. But Scorsese, man, I don't know. He's just, like, the drop-off. I mean, even Cry Macho is kind of watchable. You can kind of see what he's going for. But Scorsese, like The Irishman, I just watched that movie going, I mean, at least you had Al Pacino in it. Al Pacino is amazing in that movie, by the way. JC, Tarantino has come up with a loophole about retiring. He said he'd retire from making movies, but he didn't see anything about directing a TV series for streaming. Well, that could be interesting. I would check out a TV show directed by him. That would be fun. If he stays away from his normal tropes a little bit, like, or he just goes right into them. Like if he did like a 70s blaxploitation TV series, that might be fun. Some kind of action thing, some crime thing. I could see that. But yeah, I could see that. That could be fun. I mean, things have changed, in my view. TV series, nobody's watching TV. It's not really TV anymore. It's something else. I don't know what you call it. Binge watching. And movies aren't quite doing it for people either. So I've got a plan to sort of reinvent the two together. JC, Irishman wasn't terrible. It was too long and felt like an old man thinking about death, which was a downer. Yeah. Yeah, like Al Pacino's great in the movie. He really is. But everything else in the movie, like De Niro is a drag on the whole movie. And that's, yeah, he's the old man. And the scene where they use CGI to make him look young, it does not work at all, in my view. No way. Like his face kind of looks young, but he's still puffy, like old man puffy. Like the CGI hasn't perfected that ability yet. Yeah, you could put an old man's face on a young man's body, but you still have to make the face look lean. There's a leanness to young people. Somebody just posted William Shatner's old actor picture. Like, it's a black and white photo of Shatner when he's probably in his 20s. And he's like super handsome and he's in a suit. It looks sharp. And, but you can still tell it's him. But, you know, he's 90 now and is puffy. He's puffy. Holly, The Irishman was a lie. All lies. Strong words, Holly. Strong words. JC, the de-aging effect was passable until he had to be active. Yeah. Yeah, the scene where he beats up that guy is terrible. It's like, and I didn't understand, like, why wouldn't they get a stuntman from that? Because the shot is so far away, you can't even really see his face. Like, you might as well have gotten a stunt guy and done the whole, you know, old-timey Star Trek thing where it's like obviously a stuntman, a younger guy doing this stuff. But they did not do that well at all. But I didn't think the face was passable. He doesn't look like young Robert De Niro. Because I remember him from The Godfather 2, where he is young. And his face is just completely different. I mean, he's just gaunt in the face. Like, there's just no way to describe it. As you get older, you get puffier. You know? It's very hard to keep your face thin and young looking. It just, your skin, if you're too skinny, you look old man, and if you're not skinny, you look puffy. So it's like, getting right in there, forget it. The only guy who kind of looks almost exactly the same despite his age is Kevin Bacon. He looks almost exactly the same, but he's always had kind of an odd face and tight skin, and he's always been skinny. That's the only way I think you can kind of do it. You have to stay in shape and never get out of shape. You know, like Donna D'Errico, who's still a smoke show at like 57, 52, 57, something like that. But Heather Locklear, there was an article about Heather Locklear today, is all puffy. JC, he didn't have to look like a young De Niro. He was playing a working blue-collar guy. Looking pudgy worked for the character. I don't know. To me, it just looked like old Robert De Niro. What's up, Joan? You want to come over here? Come here. Don't complain. You good? All right. Good dog. Now, maybe that's just because I knew what young Robert De Niro looked like. Maybe for somebody else, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But I don't know. It just didn't work for me. I think that kind of de-aging effect probably has to be a combination of practical and CGI, and didn't quite work. Holly, sometimes they get the puff from the meds. I don't know. Like, think about it, though. When you're that rich, JC, he looked like late 40s De Niro. Yeah. When you're that rich, I mean, I'd be 400 pounds if I was that rich. I'd just be eating like crazy. You know, you gotta treat yourself. When you have that kind of money, how could you not eat all that fantastic food you're offered? I don't know, man. You know, what's the point of being rich if you can't indulge once in a while? I mean, I get it. They got to stay in shape, but still. I'll tell you, Brad Pitt stays in shape somehow. He must be denying himself. He looks good for, I think he just hit 60. It looks good. Looks good. All right. Let's get into the trades. Ready for some trades, doggy? You ready for the trades? I think you are. Let's see what's happening. They had the BAFTAs this weekend. This is the UK Oscars. Oppenheimer dominated the BAFTA Awards with 7 wins, including Best Film and Director. So there you go. Yes. Yes, doggy. American Fiction, Poor Things, and Zone of Interest flex at BAFTAs, while Barbie and Maestro get Oscar campaign blows. So, I guess, do we have a list of winners? Let's see. Ooh, look at Margot Robbie. Looking good, as always. Where is... Do we just have a list of winners? I just want a list of winners. No, it's all pictures. Alright. Forget this. Let's see. Ah, Joan, sit still. You're kicking me in the stomach. No, don't have the winners list. Let me try. BAFTA winners 2024. Maybe we can get our list here. Okay, here we go. Right here. Variety. Okay. Here we go. Best film. Oppenheimer won. I'll just read out the winners. Director, Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan. Supporting actress, Divine Joy Rudolph, The Holdovers. Winner. No one knows who she is, I don't think. Supporting actor, Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer. Lead actress, Emma Stone, Poor Things. I don't think it's going to go that way in the Oscars, but maybe. Leading actor, Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer. Yeah. Rising Star Award. I don't know what that is. Mia McKenna, Bruce, winner. Original screenplay, Anatomy of a Fall. I hear good things about this movie. It's the winner. Adapted screenplay, American Fiction. Winner. I guess it's based on a book. I'm not sure. Film not in English language, Zone of Interest. Jonathan Glazer. I guess it's not in English? I think Jonathan Glazer, I think he's an American, isn't he? But I guess it's in German, because you know who it's about. Animated film, Boy and the Heron. That makes sense. Elemental got nominated. No way Elemental was going to win. Documentary, nobody cares. Outstanding British film, Zone of Interest. Yay, you must be British then. But it's not in English? It's weird. Outstanding debut by British writer, director, or producer, Earth Mama. I have no idea what that is. Casting. I think they added this to the Oscars for next time, The Holdovers. I mean, I can see casting sometimes being award-winning. Some really good casting. But not every single movie and every single time, but I guess. Cinematography, Oppenheimer. That makes sense. Editing, Oppenheimer. Costume design, Poor Things. That makes sense. They look to have a lot of costumes. Holly. Cillian Murphy is a good actor. He is great in Peaky Blinders. Everything he has been in is good. Hope he gets it. Yeah. Yeah, I like him. I love him as Scarecrow. Oh, I thought he was great Scarecrow. In the Christian Bale Batman movies. Kind of perfect for the role, really. Hair and makeup, Poor Things. It looks like they love Poor Things. Original score, Oppenheimer. Production design, poor things. Yeah, those are all things that maybe Barbie could have won one of those, but yeah. Sound, zone of interest, visual effects, poor things. So they're loving poor things. Let's see. Anything else going on other than the BAFTAs? Joan, you got a bunch of stuff in your hair here. What the hell did you roll around in? Gross. Whatever it is. This is an article why OpenAI's Sora isn't ready to replace Hollywood. Scott Adams was talking about this on his podcast, and in a nutshell, he said part of the problem is you can't really tweak AI yet. Apparently, it's impossible, according to him, and according to the article. I think this was the article he was referencing. But, and I do this, I do a comic, although it's not going to air today, called the Insane AI Generated Comic, where I try to get the AI to do the artwork, and then I do the word balloons. I was trying to get the AI to do the word balloons too, just couldn't get it to make any kind of sense. It was just so off the rails. I had to edit it, so much of it I gave up, and I just said, well, I'll just write something. But what I tried to do with the art, sometimes, it's really hard to get 3 panels to get the AI to do a 3-panel comic, just to do 3 panels. A lot of times it does 6 or 4 or whatever. So I said, well, maybe I could put 2 of the strips, 2 different ideas together and make one strip, but you can't, because like if you ask the AI to draw any character, even a made-up one, say you ask it to draw Santa Claus, it'll draw, and like I'll say, draw me a 3-panel comic strip about Santa Claus and the Mafia or something. It'll draw something, and then if the panels don't make any sense and I need more, I'll ask it to do it again, and it'll give me 3 different panels, and the Santa will look completely different. So I won't be able to take like the best panels between the 2 and splice them together. It just won't work. The characters will look too different. So like every time the AI is set to draw something, it starts over from the beginning. So if you ask the AI, and right now they're at the point where they can make pretty decent videos. So if you ask it, okay, have some dogs playing in a field, and then you want the dogs to be, I don't know, you want more dogs, or you want bigger dogs, or whatever, like the AI won't take the old footage and incorporate it. It will start completely over, and you might get something wildly different, and it won't cut together, essentially. Holly, I have the same issue with AI when I do the Igor for I Heart Horror. If you have seen it in our group, I have. So Holly has like a logo mascot thing for I Heart Horror. It's like a heart with eyes. Or AI, I think. I forget. Is it 2 eyes or 1 eye? I forget. But yeah, every time you punch it in, the AI is going to start over, and you might get close, but you'll never quite get the same. It's weird. So apparently that's built into how the AI works. It can't tweak, in other words. So it may be impossible. Holly, 1. Okay, it only has 1. It may be impossible to have it make a movie. What it will be able to do, apparently, at some point, you'll be able to say, I want to see a movie that's a combination of, let's say, Star Wars and, I don't know, let's say Predator. Okay? You want to combine those 2 movies. Like, the AI will be able to do that. And you'll get a whole movie. And it might be good, but it's probably not going to make a whole lot of sense in certain scenes. But you won't be able to fix that movie. Because if you ask it to do it again, it'll just start over and give you a completely different movie with probably wildly different characters. Do you want to get down? Is that what you're itching for? Okay. There you go. So I don't think we have to worry about AI taking over the movie industry. But it will be good for like commercials, I think, and like doing little short vignettes of video. Like if you want video to just play in the background of your website, and it's just say people walking through a beautiful hotel, something like that. Like you want to indicate that your spa is very roomy and nice. You can make the AI do something that's kind of close. That'll be good for sort of a background thing, but for like a coherent story, it won't work. It's the same way if you try to get it to write a story. People are like, "Oh my God, writers are done. It's gonna take stories and be able to write them." No, it can't. You have to do so much editing. It's not worth it. It's easier to make stuff up. Like I've been hired by clients to rewrite other people's horrible scripts and horrible stories. That's harder than just writing a new thing, because I have to read all the horrible script, and then I have to try to figure out what I'm going to salvage and what I'm not going to salvage. And often my client will pick things that to salvage that should be gone, and they'll want to kick out stuff that should stay. So, and even if I just do it on my own, completely free of my client, it's still like, what am I doing? I might as well start over, because movies are kind of easy, but it's kind of like a ball rolling down a hill. Like it just rolls down the hill. If you start at the top of the hill and go with the ball, you can see how it rolls right down. If you have a movie that doesn't work because the ball like hits a rock and goes to the left, like fixing it means you have to make sure it doesn't hit that rock. And that's more work than just rewriting a new hill. In other words, I don't know, that was a clunky analogy, but I think you get what I'm saying. It's easier just to start over, for me anyway. Like I just started this screenplay for my client, and I'm already 21 pages in. It only has to be 90 pages, and then it's done. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. I'm almost done Act 1. I'm just waiting for his approval, and then boom, I'm on to I'll finish Act 1, and then hopefully on to Act 2, and then hopefully I come up with a good ending. I'm not sure how I'm going to end this one yet, but I got to get his feedback before I get too far into it. This I don't think we have to worry about AI too much. Over at Fandom Pulse, Hollywood adds diversity hire casting to kaiju genre with Godzilla vs. King Kong, The New Empire. I don't like the sound of that. No thank you. No thank you, diversity. Coyote versus Acme going into the Iron Vault of tax write-offs. I don't care. I really don't. And I'm a huge Looney Tunes fan, but I didn't want to see a Looney Tunes with live-action John Cena. I don't think that was going to be good. It's usually never good when when cartoon characters are with real people. The only good movie is Roger Rabbit. That was good. Maybe there's one other, but it just doesn't work. What's her name? Hit Girl did a movie, I think, with Bugs Bunny, or maybe no, it was Tom and Jerry. Ugh, just looked awful. Like, just do a cartoon. Stop trying to cram real humans into it. Forbes thinks that Iman Vellani of the failed Ms. Marvel knows how to save the MCU. Well, Forbes doesn't know D. Forbes doesn't know comics. I wouldn't trust Forbes to fix the MCU. What do you know? You're going to give it to Iman Vellani? Why? Her show didn't do any good. What do you think she could fix? Her show failed. Her movie failed. Yeah, people liked her. She was charismatic. But being the best actor in two terrible projects is not that huge of an accomplishment, actually. It just means that she needs a better script. But it doesn't mean she could write it. Ms. Marvel was doomed. It was doomed. This was big news. YouTube has demonetized WDW Pro with no strikes, warnings, or ways to appeal, which is disheartening, but not surprising, because these guys were very critical of Disney. So, yeah, not surprised at all. Not surprised. It's a shame. But YouTube, I think, carries the water for these big corporations. And, you know, I'm sure they would, if I was effective, if I had 1 million followers, I'd already be kicked off this platform. 100%. 100%. I already came real close to getting kicked off. I had 2 strikes at one point. They're all gone now, but I had 2 strikes. I think the warning went away too. I had to take like the training to make the warning go away, which just is me going click, 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 click. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Whatever I had to click, just get me out of here. And then, like, I don't know, 8 months went by and they said, okay, we'll let you out of YouTube jail. And my hits actually started to grow the moment I got out of YouTube jail. So that was good, I guess. But it just means that I'm harmless probably until the election, and then they'll come down on me, give me a strike. They'll find one of my old videos from like 10 years ago, or probably not even that long ago, 5 years ago. And they'll say, oh, this violates YouTube policy. Why didn't you take that old YouTube video down? And I'll just be like, oh, well. That's when I'll be on Rumble permanently. But there was a big scandal this week at the Hugo Awards. And the scandal was something like they spied. They basically did some work for China to spy on some of the nominees and leave people out, leave people in. There's a big scandal. Apparently it happened before, or something happened about it before. It says John Scalzi, Neil Gaiman, and Mary Robinette Cowell caused the Hugo Awards decline, and now they're whining about Worldcon unfairness. So it has something to do with Worldcon too. I didn't follow the whole thing. Don the Second. That's the only thing that scares me about my gaming channel. The games I play make me say Wild S. Monetization is really tricky. Well, that's why you gotta mirror everything on Rumble, Bitchute, and Odysee. You gotta lay the groundwork for the day they kick you off, I say. If you're lucky and they kick you off, you might be able to come back like on a new channel and start over, but you know, it took me about a year to monetize, like to get 1,000 followers. I got a YouTube channel initially, and I didn't really post that much stuff because I didn't have good equipment, and I didn't invest in any. I should have. That was back in like 2008. I should have started doing videos. If I had really started doing videos in 2008 and invested some time in it, oh man, I'd have 100,000 followers easy. I'd be making money. But maybe not, because maybe I would have been permanently banned. But it took me about a year to get 1,000 followers. Now that I have 3,300, my rise is clicking up. But I took all my political stuff and I took it mostly off the channel as much as I could. I'm sure there's like these live streams. Every once in a while I go off into a rant, but you know, I put all my political stuff, the stuff like the other day I did a video where I watched a Biden press conference and basically heckled them through the whole press conference. And I was really close to putting it on YouTube, but in the end I said, you know what, I'm just going to put it on the other channels because I am making a little bit of money. So I'm trying to keep my channel here mostly political free. So if you want to hear my spicier opinions, come to Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble, because you can say pretty much what you want. But here, you got to watch yourself. If you talk about a certain medical procedure, if you talk about certain bad guys from Germany in the wrong way. Apparently, you can't say that. Oh man, there's so much stuff. If you talk about certain groups of confused individuals, I'll say people who are very confused about very basic things, yeah, you could be in trouble. In fact, I got blasted by one of those very confused people on Twitter. I just blocked them. They annoyed me. I gave them a chance to like come at me a little bit and start a discussion. If someone's gonna criticize me, I don't mind. But if you're gonna just be a jerk and call me names, I get bored of that really quick. But JEC was stuck at just under 11K followers. Wow, for over a year. Then all the lefties Insta usually pushes started screaming about current events in the Middle East, and all of a sudden I got 700 new followers. Huh. Wow. Well, that's pretty impressive. So you got 11K followers on YouTube. That's really good. Or you're talking about Twitter? I'm not sure. Followers is Twitter, so maybe you're talking about Twitter. I rarely get new followers on Twitter. Once in a while I get like 2 or 3. It's very slow growth on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it. And I have a lot of followers in the writing community, and they're all lefties, 90% of them. Handful aren't. Instagram. Oh, sorry, Instagram. I'm so bad on Instagram. I suck at it. I hate it. It's like you got to do its own thing. You have to do completely different things. Like you can't just upload your videos. You can't just upload your pictures. Like the pictures are too big. The pictures are too wide. The video's too long. It's like, couldn't you just make it like Facebook? It's basically Facebook. Hate Instagram. I hate Instagram and I hate Facebook. And I hope they die. But I don't want your followers to die. So I just wish, I don't know. Instagram just drives me nuts. I have to reconfigure everything. I do all this work just to get Instagram followers. It's like, and I don't trust it either because it's owned by Facebook, Meta, whatever. I totally don't. You know what? I actually gained followers on Facebook, believe it or not. That was crazy. I've been at like 683 followers on Facebook for years. For years, I was stuck at like 683. And then just recently, I cracked 700. It's crazy because that hasn't happened in a long time. But at least on YouTube, I gain a few followers a day now. But it's very slow. And then once in a while, like when I covered ISOM and did a review of ISOM and Alpha Core, I got a bunch of followers for some reason. Hello, comic book guys, if you're still listening. Here's an interesting article. Speaking of movies and comics. After Madam Web box office bomb, Silk, Spider Society, fires every writer and shifts focus to a male audience. So that's an interesting thing. First off, I don't think they should greenlight Silk, Spider Society, whatever the hell that is, but the fact that they're finally realizing it's a male-dominated audience, that could be a good sign. If they actually have writers who can handle it, but if they're hiring the same creative people, I think they're effed. I mean, look at the woman who directed Madam Web. She to me, she clearly is in over her head. Just wildly should have never been given that. And I would bet money that if I sat down with her and just interviewed her for 5 minutes, I'd be like, there's no way this woman could handle this. You know, I've met guys who handled movies. They're overachievers. Like, you know how doctors are overachievers? These are like overachiever filmmakers. They know stuff. Like Carter Chain. We did it, boys. Yeah, maybe we finally turned a corner here. Maybe these guys are finally done losing money. But I'm telling you, they're going to be losing money for a while. That's the problem. When they don't instantly start making money again, they'll be like, well, I guess it wasn't the male audience after all. We're still losing money. No, you idiots. You have ruined your brand, like, widely. About the only brand they got left that's still, and there's rumors they're ruining that is the Spider-Man movies. There's rumors that the fourth movie is a mess and they don't know what they're doing or something. At least that's a rumor. I don't know, you know, how real that is, but my God, you ruined that franchise. You're done, Sony. I mean, and Sony made Madam Web, so it's possible they've gone so woke they've ruined it. I don't know. I think they had all these plans to like expand the Spider-Man universe on its own without the rest of the Marvel characters. It just would have been Spider-Man all over the place. Like every friggin' Spider-Man character in its own universe. Like, I love Spider-Man, and there are a lot of crazy villains, but there's not enough characters there to really start its own universe. Maybe if you had kept it confined, maybe you could have made it work. Like, if you kept it confined to a couple of characters and you really made them good, like there's a couple of Spider-Man sidekick type characters, maybe you could have done something with them if Sony even owns them. Like, there was another character, I think he was called Tarantula. I think he was a superhero. And then it's like a handful of others that were only in Spider-Man, but they're not, like, the comic guys don't even know them. They're like from the 70s. They never went anywhere. I mean, they don't know what they've developed. They have all these IPs, and they're just like, they were developing the Hypno Hustler. The Hypno Hustler, I used to read 70s comics, and I didn't even know the Hypno Hustler, but he was apparently a Spider-Man villain that could hypnotize people, and they thought, yeah, we'll develop that for Donald Glover. Like, I assume the Hypno Hustler was black, and they just decided that would be a good fit, but that's not a character that's going to be worthy of anything. Just, it just doesn't work. There's like a handful of other ones. There was like a character who was sort of like a hippie Captain America who was in the mix for a while, but these are all obscure characters that they weren't even popular when they were published. But maybe you could bring them out of mothballs and turn them into something, but at least they'd be heroes. But like, they're putting out this Kraven the Hunter movie. Like, no, that's a big no from me, dog. I'm not seeing that. And I love Spider-Man. I like Kraven the Hunter, but not in his own movie. I don't care about him. If Spider-Man's not in it, what do I care? The only two characters they seem to have is Venom and Spider-Man. Like, Venom is doing okay, not really. But Spider-Man's a monster. It's a monster of a hit. Everything else, I mean, Madam Web? What are you, nuts? Out of all the characters? Like, Flash Thompson, the movie, would have been a better movie. Anything would have been a better movie than that. It's not even the right time period. Like, if you wanted to do a hot Spider movie, Spider-Woman, you could have done a Spider-Woman movie. Maybe that could have worked. I guess they own the rights to Spider-Woman. I think they're in the same Sony package. Yeah, you could have done that. Super hot girl, put Sydney Sweeney in a skin-tight outfit and have her run around. I'm Spider-Woman. Yeah, maybe. Boobies flopping all over the place. Okay. Yeah, I think you could have made that work. It's like, how many spider characters are you going to reveal? It's too many. Too many. All right. Yeah, here it is. New film God and Country by Jewish-born atheist Rob Reiner and Dan Partland lectures Christians on Christian nationalism. So this is that movie. All right. And checking over at the Hollywood Reporter. More on the BAFTA. Um, Dune 2 is on its way. Oh my God, is that Linda Hamilton? Oh my God, look at Linda Hamilton. She does not look the same at all. Wow, what's going on there? Linda Hamilton says being cast in Stranger Things Season 5's ruined it for her. So, what? Okay, well then, I don't know, you can quit and watch TV or you can work. I mean, which one do you want to do? It's weird. She looks very different. Very different in that picture. I mean, she's older. What are you going to do? But there is Holly. Linda got very manly. See, I didn't want to say that. I like Linda Hamilton. But, yeah, her face. A lot of lines on that face. Superman Legacy wrote out Bassem Youssef's character before he criticized Israel. This was a controversy of some sort. Superman Legacy, every article that comes out makes me less and less psyched for James Gunn's Superman. It does not sound like it's coming together. Superman is a very basic thing. It should be easy to do. It should be fun. I mean, if you just look at the first Superman movie and the second one, they're fun, they're good. You know, they should be cranking out Superman movies left and right. There should be like 10 Superman movies, and they should be pretty decent. But they just can't seem to pull it together. I don't know. Maybe if James Gunn had concentrated on just one movie instead of the entire DC universe, he'd have had a chance at this, but it seems like he's bitten off more than he can chew. So I'm a little worried about this. Maybe it's all noise. I don't know, but I don't know. It just seems like every time there's another article about it, it just sounds worse and worse. Over at Bounding in the Comics. By the way, the guy who runs Fandom Pulse is John Del Oros, I think is how you say his name. He used to write for these guys, and he was in a bit of a Twitter war with them, if you want to check that out. He is definitely, I think, more based than Bounding in the Comics, but he accuses them of, like, being very corporate and sellouts now, which is kind of funny. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I don't know. Some of these websites, it's hard to tell. I feel like they're kind of fighting over a very small fan base, but he seems to be doing well. And, you know, cards on the table. I did write 2 op-eds for Fandom Pulse. I do like it. So far, I don't mind Bounding in the Comics, but I can kind of see what he's saying with some of the articles, but I'm not seeing it yet. He's behind the scenes, so maybe he's seen more than I have. There was an article about this Japanese product. I don't know what it is, but he's the creator, and he said the author is absolute, which I really liked. I really liked that. I agree with that. That was about it. Oh, right. The X-Men thing dropped this week. I forgot about that. All right. So if you missed this, X-Men 97 trailer dropped, and then a story dropped. The showrunner, I guess it was the showrunner, confirmed that Morph, one of the characters, well, the character that was created just for the cartoon, he didn't exist in the comics. Although there was a character like him called Chameleon, but for some reason they added Morph. They added Morph to the cartoon to kill him off, but then I guess they brought him back somehow. I don't know. But anyhow, they announced he's non-binary, everybody. Hey, all right, hooray, finally, the rainbow people catch a break. Huh? It's X-Men 97. 97. We weren't talking about any of this crap in 97. We were just like, I remember 97. 97, we were like, oh yeah, gay people, they're fine. Yeah, who cares? Nobody cares. Yeah, they'll probably get married one day. Okay. Can we go about our lives now? Oh, okay, great. And we just went about our lives until 2001, where everything changed and we lost all our liberties. Um, but yeah, I mean, this whole X-Men 97 thing, Morph being non-binary, as somebody on Twitter put, they just couldn't leave it alone. They just couldn't. They just couldn't say, you know what, let's do it like it's 1997 and not do any of this crap. Nope, they couldn't leave it alone. They had to make one of the, they had to announce this, and they had to put it in, because, and that to me is an indication it's like full bore woke. Like every episode will have something in it. It'll probably be smaller. I think they're kind of pulling back on it a little bit. Oh, but they're gonna put it in there, and I think we should just boycott the entire show just because of that. But people won't boycott it. You know how people are. They want to see it, they'll see it. For me, it's like, I complained about the show when it was on in 97. Chris Claremont came out with an article, said, yeah, this show, it's nothing like what I wrote. The characters are different, they're doing all this stuff. That was enough for me. I was like, yeah, screw these guys. It's close-ish to the comic. I mean, it's closer to the comic back then, probably, than any of the stuff they'll ever make now, but, you know, it's not Chris Claremont. What they need is Chris Claremont on the cartoon. You want to make the cartoon great, hire Chris Claremont. And then only approved stories approved by him. And then the show will be amazing. Oh, it'll be amazing then. With Chris Claremont at the helm, yeah, that show would be amazing. But it's not going to be amazing. That's my prediction. It's going to be a disappointment. Everybody will hate it. Or at least enough people that, it'll just blunt the launch. But you can only watch it on Disney Plus anyway. So maybe the reruns will help, but like, who the hell's going to buy Disney Plus just to see this one cartoon? Like, Disney Plus just doesn't have enough material. I said it before. It's like, you're going to buy a whole streaming service just to watch Disney Plus. There's not enough stuff on it. You could watch it all in a month. All the good stuff, anyway, I think. You could probably watch it all in a month. You missed some of the Marvel movies? Okay. You watch it. Okay. Month goes by. All right. My free trial's over. Delete. That's what I would do. But I don't want to give Disney even the satisfaction of that. So, I'd love to see Disney just sell off its assets and collapse. So, let that happen. Let that happen. I think they're heading that way. Over Deadline. Annie Awards. Spider-Man Best Feature, Blue Eye Samurai Leads TV. What the hell are the Annie Awards? I assume Animation Awards. Holly. If you have Hulu, you get Disney Plus. Ooh. I think Disney owns part of Hulu. Or did. I don't know. That was on the chopping block for a while. Star Wars abandoned draft script sells for more than $13,000 at auction. Harrison Ford left behind something more than his toothbrush when he departed a London rental. A draft script from the original Star Wars movie trilogy was discovered in the abode and is now sold more for $13,000. That's kind of a cool find. It's the fourth draft. Huh. Interesting. That's kind of a cool thing to find, I gotta say. Now, I wonder why he was in London prior to Star Wars being shot. Or maybe he was... They did shoot some of it in London, I think. Or in England. I think. What's in the first Star Wars? Hoth? They shot that in the desert. What the hell else was there? Is there any jungle scenes in the first one? There's jungle scenes in the second one. Oh, gosh. Can't remember. Maybe the cantina scenes, I think. I think they had a studio back then. They shot stuff in the UK. So maybe it was the fourth draft, but it was one they used? So maybe he was there during the shooting when he left that script. U2's Bono. Does everybody hate Bono now? I mean, are we all in agreement we hate Bono now? Pretty sure most of us all hate Bono now. Like, he's just run out everybody. U2's Bono leads Sphere crowd. This is in Las Vegas. In chant of Alexei Navalny's name. These guys were so serious back in the day. Back in the 80s, I wrote a comedy sketch. It was like MTV would have these contests where you'd win a trip with the band. Like I think there was one for Van Halen where you get to go on basically a little mini tour with Van Halen and go nuts. So I wrote a comedy sketch where you get to go on tour with YouTube, except, you know, they're very serious and boring and they just want to protest and suffer. And we actually shot it. It's pretty funny. Guys in my comedy show pretended to be YouTube and The Edge and stuff. But that's the way they were. They were very serious back then. They still are pretty serious, so. But kind of like lame, I think. Let's see. BAFTA. And that's about it. Deadline over Bleeding Fool. Christian Bale launches charity building homes for foster siblings. I think that's good. But I read in another article it was supposed to be for transitioning children. And then I was like, maybe. I don't know. G.I. Joe and Transformers live-action crossover film in the works. I don't know. Does anybody want to see that? I guess. I think people like the Transformers movies. The G.I. Joe movies never seem to work. Never seem to work. They never got a good lead for that G.I. Joe movies. So yeah, I don't know, man. G.I. Joe was, as a cartoon, it kind of worked, but for some reason, as a live-action movie, it doesn't really work. This was another big deal this week. Dolph Lundgren and his wife finally got citizenship, U.S. citizenship, after 40 years of living here. Like, they weren't U.S. citizens all that time, but then now they're finally U.S. citizens. Isn't that weird? Like, at this point, you know, I would have understood it back 20 years ago. They would have gotten citizenship. Carter Chain, by transitioning, they mean between foster homes. Okay, I hope. I don't know. I hope they mean it that way. These Marxists, they use words as weapons. Never forget that. But, okay. If that's the case, then good. But imagine being in this country 40 years and you're not a citizen. It's a long time. Like, renewing your green card over and over again. Why not just become a citizen after 20 years? Like, seems like you should. See, here it is. X-Men, the animated series fans should ignore Disney's X-Men 97. Speaking of Marxists, what could go wrong? New York City Schools publishes educational comics. And this looks as bad as you can possibly imagine. Look at all this commie gobbledygook. This is the New York City Comics. Histories de la Resistencia. So, teach your kids to be a commie using a comic book. Apparently, that's what the New York school system wants. Let's see. Over at the Wrap. More on Oppenheimer. This is a weird headline for the Wrap. John Bolton not the singer. John Bolton, the warmonger, says the Kremlin will celebrate a Trump victory. Putin thinks he's an easy mark. Why is the rap like the rap is supposed to be about movies and they cover stuff like this, and that's of course not true. Oh, Kristen Stewart was sort of in the news this week. And because she did this gross picture for her movie that's coming up. I don't know if they're going to show it here. No, they don't have a picture of her gross cover, but she was on Rolling Stone. Let me see if I can find it for you real quick. Kristen Stewart. Let's see. That's in a wrap. I wonder if it's on here. That's not it, but that's her looking greasy, but oh no, it's not on here either. Dang it. All right, let me try. Kristen Stewart, Rolling Stone cover. See if it's here. Oh, come on. This is Rolling Stone and I can't find the damn cover. Alright, let me try images. And it'll just be on the images. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so this is the... Let me find a bigger one. This is the gross... Oh, God, that's not what I want either. Let's see. I guess they don't show the whole thing. I guess only this one does. Okay, now you can see it. So that's the gross cover of Kristen Stewart. And so everybody was talking about this. Oops. What did I do? Somehow I zoomed in. I didn't want to do that. There we go. It's gross. Sweaty. Gross. And so she says her Rolling Stone cover was controversial because it was not designed for or desired by straight men. Because this whole movie that she's in is going to be some lesbian romance thing. I think it's called Love Lies Bleeding. It doesn't look great. It just looks purposely like very greasy and gross. Carter Chain, woman mullets don't look good. Yeah, like the whole thing. And she can look good. She could definitely look better than this. She's not the hottest girl in the world, but she could look okay. I mean, she looked decent in Charlie's Angels. But like, even in that movie, it was like, we all know you're hot. You could be hot if you wanted. Instead, it's like this weird idea that you got to keep dressing these hot women down to subvert expectations, to, God forbid, anybody like you. Like, you got to try to make it as unappealing as possible for some reason. Again, this is kind of a Marxist thing. Kind of, I think, why, I think that, oh, here's Martin Scorsese. The CCP really wants to take over Hollywood's position, and I think they're behind the scenes pushing stuff like this. It's like, make her look as unappealing as possible. Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, let's take, like, beautiful women and make them ugly. Let's take ugly women and tell everybody they're beautiful. Like, this is what they do now. Everything's the opposite. And I say just don't, look at it. I say, I mean, Rolling Stone is so not relevant anymore. It used to be. Like in the 60s and 70s, yeah, they had Hunter S. Thompson writing for them. Sometimes they would do cool investigative journalism. They would explore cool bands, but not anymore. It hadn't been relevant in a long time, I think. So, and who reads magazines? Like that group of people who reads magazines and newspapers, they're all dying. They're all old. They're all like 65 plus. And they are dying off. And this, to me, it's just like the last gasp of these media outlets. And then they're trying to transition, pardon the use of the word, to like this super young audience that's completely Marxist and communist. And they don't read magazines at all. If it's not on their phone, forget it. Forget it. You think even these Portland Antifa guys are going to read Rolling Stone for anything? Oh, you're so establishment. You're so far away from their commie world. I think no. I think no. What else? Cosmic Book News. More on Madam Web. Oh, here it is. Spider-Man 4 rumored a mess. That's terrible. And then this other rumor, which apparently has been bouncing around for a while, that Henry Cavill has signed a deal with Marvel to do something. And so there's a couple of different rumors. One of the rumors, which I think would be a good fit, would be Captain Britain. He could be a good Captain Britain if they made him, like, cool. Like, if they're going to emasculate him, it would be a disaster. But Henry Cavill maybe would be like, I'm not doing this unless I look cool. So, maybe. And then the other rumor was that he's going to be Doctor Doom, which wouldn't be bad casting. He's a good actor. He's handsome. Doctor Doom was supposedly handsome. And Kirby drew him. They asked Kirby one time to draw Doctor Doom without his mask. And instead of drawing a guy with his face melted off, as unfortunately most comic book guys assume, Kirby drew Doctor Doom, and he did draw Victor Von Doom before he put the mask on, with a tiny little scar. And the idea was, and this is why Kirby was such a genius, was Victor Von Doom was so handsome and so full of himself that even though he got a tiny scar, he felt he was ruined. Right? He was so full of himself, like that tiny scar ruined his perfect masterpiece of a face. And that he became the Man in the Iron Mask for all time because of that. Not that he was a horrible monster. That it was his ego that makes him wear that crazy mask and armor and stuff. But I think Henry Cavill as Doctor Doom, that would be pretty cool too. But I don't know, man. I don't trust the MCU. I don't trust it. Marvel Comics announces Deadpool and Wolverine World War III. Not sure what that is. Again, I don't trust Marvel, so I don't really care. I mean, Marvel is in such dire straits. They would have to be based for so long. It would have to be like 5 years, and then finally somebody would be at a comic book convention talking to me about Marvel, and I'd just be like, oh, Marvel, I'm not going to read any of that woke crap. And they'd just be like, oh, no, they haven't been woke in years, dude. You got to check it out. And I'd be like, what? Come on. And they'd show me a bunch of comics, and then I'd be like, really? Like, it's going to be a long time before Marvel can fix its messed up reputation. But I don't think they're going to try. I think they're going to try to do it halfway. Like, they'll put out a couple of comics that maybe are a little based and not totally woke to the agenda or whatever. Even those. I mean, Morph. Look at Morph. They couldn't let it go. They couldn't let one thing slide. Holly, Deadpool is the only thing that saves Marvel, and if they're smart, they'll let Ryan Reynolds keep doing what he's doing. I don't think they're smart. Nope. They're very, very dumb. They're all ego-driven maniacs. You talk to these Hollywood people, and they're so full of themselves. They can talk about themselves endlessly. Endlessly. And these are not people who have done anything. You know, I talked to some of these producers. They hadn't really done anything that you would have heard of. Oh, but they could talk like, I mean, the meeting would just go on and on and on and on. I'd just be like, what are we doing? If you can imagine me in a meeting just sitting there listening and listening and listening to somebody just go on and on and on. And finally, I'd just crack and go, what are we doing? Are we doing anything? Are we going to do something here? This is why I didn't make it in Hollywood. They don't like that. You have to put up with these people and have to glad hand them. And like half of them just don't, they're just hangers on. That's all they are. They're full of it. They are full of it. Yeah, so that's about it. Yeah, so Deadpool, I don't know, Deadpool 3, does look decent. It could be good. I don't know. The downside of it is the merger of, um, you know, Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool with D plus. That looks like it could just bring the whole thing down. If they were to, for instance, hand the X-Men over to Ryan Reynolds and his team, that would be a different situation. Then maybe they'd be like, okay. I don't know, man. I don't know what they're gonna do with Hugh Jackman either. That's another thing. It's like, are you gonna keep using Hugh Jackman? I mean, he looks great in the role. Don't get me wrong, but like, how many more years can he keep playing Wolverine? I don't know. I think they're gonna recast him. They're gonna have to. But yeah, the rumor is this somehow starts us into the next phase of the MCU. If this movie bombs, that is dead. That is dead. If this movie doesn't do gangbusters, it's in trouble, but it could probably still do something. But if this movie bombs, like, ugh, they really, I mean, if they wokeify Deadpool, it is so over. It is so over. I don't know, man. I think Ryan Reynolds would resist that. But Ryan Reynolds does like money, it seems. He's still doing those phone commercials. I know he owns the company, but God, I'm so sick of seeing those phone commercials. Yeah, they're funny. He's funny. I don't know. I want to see him do a comedy. Deadpool's a comedy. So I like that. But if they do save the MCU, then you got to keep Deadpool around, right? Then you'd have to keep Deadpool around. You probably have to keep Hugh Jackman around. I don't know, man. They're going to have to introduce a whole bunch of new characters again. They're going to have to introduce them all again. So, we'll see. All right. What did we learn today? I'm going to start to wrap it up here. We're coming up on the 2 hours. We learned Madam Web did not make a lot of money. It did not. It is probably not going to make a profit. What else did we learn? We learned the BAFTA Awards probably are going to mirror the Oscars somewhat. And Oppenheimer's going to win a lot. I think. I still have my list of Oscar picks. So we'll be going over that and your picks after the Oscars, which happens in, what is this? This is the 18th? Yeah, so another like 2 weeks, I think. We'll be doing that. So final thoughts, if you will. We also learned Joan was a very bad dog today. Very bad dog, but that's okay. I forgive her. She is, she's sleeping on her new bed. I got a second bed for Joan for Christmas. So she doesn't like that one as much, but you know, it's a good little bed for her to stretch out in. So next week for me, more videos, of course. I got stuff going on Friday. I'm going to be at the United Methodist Center, I think it's called. That's a senior center on Friday. Sunday, I'm doing Nerd Fest. I may have another date on the 24th on Saturday, but it's still up in the air. And on the 28th on Wednesday is my triumphant return to Tyndall Road Brewing in Bordentown, New Jersey. Don't miss that. If you're in Bordentown, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. Nerd Fest is always good, too. That's in Swedesboro. That's on Sunday, the 25th. A lot of comic guys going to be there. I think I have to bring a table to that. I got to remember to bring that. That's always good. Nerd Fest is always solid. It's a nice little hotel. So that's what we've learned. Oh, and also I'll be at Gator Weekend, which is is also great. Thanks for tuning in. And more videos later. Check out the Piney podcast. Check out my stream from yesterday if you missed it. Thanks to all who stopped by. And we'll see you in the next one. Mm-hmm.